Move over watercolors. I got myself some gouache. This jelly gouache set is from Artist's Loft. I got it on sale. I'm not affiliated with them, but this is the first time I'll be trying any kind of gouache product. This particular set comes with 24 colors, and they had another set there with 18 colors. This one was definitely more bang for your buck. It also came with more pastel colors, which will hopefully save on me having to use white. The case is pretty heavy duty. It's a nice solid construction, has these nice clips. It also came with a mixing palette, which is quite handy. Though I do believe I will be using my own homemade palettes for mixing on. Now, right off the bat, these colors are geared towards students. Typically, student grade paint won't show you the pigment numbers of which the paints are made out of, which is okay. I got this just to test them out. Also came with 3 brushes. I didn't rearrange the colors at all. I just went right into opening them. And because this is going to be relevant, opening this one pot took a solid 24 seconds. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot. And even with me doing a time lapse, you can see how much I'm struggling with each of these colors. It was absolutely maddening. So Artist Loft, I don't know who hurt you, but making these impossible to open is not the answer. If you could just rethink this packaging, that would be amazing, because I am regretting this. Use my teeth. Now, the actual colors look fantastic upon opening them. The paint is wet, the paint is juicy, and it looks just absolutely wonderful. And overall, at this point, I'm getting very excited to get into these paints and actually start painting with them. I would also like to mention that opening them is an incredibly messy job. Before I get into painting an actual picture, I do like to swatch out my colors. Almost every artist should do this. I highly recommend playing with your supplies before just going in and painting a picture, just to get a better idea of what these colors will dry into. My first impressions of just these 2 little squares and scooping out of these cups here was that this paint was kind of sticky feeling in texture. I'm used to working with watercolors where everything's thinned out and very smooth, and so this was a very unique experience to me, especially since I don't really work in other mediums like oil or acrylic. These 2 colors are almost exactly the same. And the French ultramarine and cobalt are very close. Same with the orange and the medium yellow. I'm actually very excited for that color. It looks a lot like manganese blue. Their jade green is very close to viridian or phthalo green blue shade. This ordering makes a little more sense. I think I would go this way next time. This is a voiceover, and I did in fact change it to go the other way. Now I'm going to close the set and I will start my practice drawing tomorrow. Let's see how this does overnight. So after a solid 24 hours and then some, I reopened my paint palette and had found out that my first assessment that the palette is nice and sturdy and wonderful was not as wonderful, because the one clip I thought I had heard clip did in fact not clip. It was open. The paints are not at all hindered by that. I gave them a bit of spritz of water and they were fine. And so now I finally get to go into making a first painting with these paints. And I used a light box or a shadow box or a still life box, whichever you want to call it. And instead of making a bright and vibrant painting with all these juicy colors, I decided to do a value study using this shadow box that I built myself. And I had a lot of fun with this. I don't know if you have ever painted with watercolors before, but it was very freeing to be able to make mistakes and be able to paint over them without having that mistake haunt you for the rest of the painting. If you're wondering what kind of paper I'm using Fabriano. It's in their student grade line, and I wanted to mention that because this paper took the paint incredibly well. I thought it would because this paint is often associated with watercolor, and it just made sense to paint on watercolor paper with it. And I must say, I really, really like this paint because of just how it moves on the paper, how I can layer it, and how that when I put a new layer on top, I have the option to blend it with the layer underneath or just let it sit on top. It's very malleable and incredibly wonderful to work with. Since recording this video, I've actually done about 4 paintings more with gouache, and each time I've worked with it, it has not let me down. I've been using different qualities of paper, and I will have some videos of that out. So if you have any questions about gouache, leave them in the comments and I'll see if I can answer them in my next videos. I really hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.